Welcome everyone to Dragon Quest FM, where we talk about and obsess over Dragon Quest. I'm Austin,
I'm BJ.
and
And
this
I'm
week we
Jennifer.
have a special guest. Oh, I interrupted you. I'm so sorry. I ruined it. It is Jennifer. Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, happy to join you.
So we don't
So
do guests terribly often, but we were so excited when this opportunity came up. There was no way we were gonna pass it up and not get to talk to you. So hopefully, the listeners will be completely blown away right now, rather than just seeing our beautiful faces. They get to see extra beautiful faces. So it's wonderful.
so Jennifer, we do a thing called shameless self promotion, where we promote ourselves, or just when people come on the show, we do like shameless self promotion. So right out the gate, we'll go ahead and open that up for you. You can be as shameless as possible with promoting anything, but just let everybody know who you are, social media to follow you at, anything like that is good.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. I'm Jennifer Sherman. I am a localization editor at Square Enix Manga and Books. I'm from the land of good morning. If you know Japanese, you'll be able to figure that out. Um, and I am the editor for the Dragon Quest and Mark of Erdrick manga, as well as some other things. I brought some show and tell, a couple
Oh,
other
awesome.
game titles. I've done Final Fantasy, Fairy Academy, the
Awesome.
near replicant novels, um, and some of my other editing babies are A Man and His Cat, The Apothecary Diaries, novels, print versions, stuff like Mona Lisa, and Wash It All Away. That's the end of my show and talk for now.
Oh, very cool. I feel like we should like be clapping after
Yeah, I
that.
know,
That's
right? I'm
really
like,
cool.
those look really cool. That's awesome.
Oh,
That is
and
really cool.
um, my if you want to talk about any of these with me, online, my blue sky and Twitter is at JAA Sherman.
Awesome.
Very cool. I also noticed just now when you were doing that, you have on a slime shirt. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, yep.
Nice.
Awesome. I love it. Is that sequined?
Now it's like it's I don't know what you call it. It's like slightly elevated, but it's like paint puffy. And they're all in the
Oh,
shapes of slimes too. So
oh my goodness, that is
That's
yeah,
awesome.
amazing.
this is official merch from Japan that I got via eBay. But yeah,
That is very cool.
That is so cool. I love that.
this is my
Did
chance
you wear a
to.
slime shirt today, Austin? Because I did. I had a slime shirt
Um,
on. Are you
Um,
are you the odd man out?
I did not, but I'm going to explain the reason why. Okay. Um, People might know this about me. I'm a huge Mariners fan, right? They're on a winning streak right now. They've won like 5 games in a row and might make it to the postseason. So I have on a Mariner shirt. I've been trying to think that okay, if I have on like some kind of Mariners attire each and every day, they'll keep winning. Which I realize is superstitious and has nothing to do with them winning. But in the back of my mind, still, I'm like, got to keep it going. So anyway, I just got off work as well, so you know just
you
had this on
both
already and went with it.
you both wore the correct color though. I'm noticing for the series, which
That is true. That's why I thought he had the slime shirt on too, with the nice blue right there. I was like, yeah.
That's actually when I was a kid, like being a kid, like why would you cheer for a Seattle team being a kid in Tennessee? And that was actually part of it. Is that I really liked their colors. I thought their colors were pretty, and I was like, I'm gonna cheer for this team. So yeah, that's part of
well,
it. Um, all right, so we'll get straight. We'll get on into the interview portion. Um, so how how did you get into like editing, translating, localization? How did you get into all of this?
well, it's um, you one more prop. Bear with me. You could say it started when I was a wee pop when I played games such as this.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
here's for the audio listeners, I guess. Here's my copy of the NES Dragon Warrior game. Um,
Very
I played
nice.
that way too young to like understand how to play, but
Yep.
it's
Absolutely.
still with me years later. Um, But yeah, I've been a lifelong fan of video games and a lot of Japanese pop culture stuff, even when I didn't know it was that. Um, I ended up
Mhm.
studying Japanese in college, and at the end of my time in college, I started working for the website Anime News Network. So
Mhm.
I wrote articles and edited articles all about Japanese pop culture stuff, anime, manga, games, and some other stuff. Um, and from there, I went to Japan on the JET program and taught English for 4 years. Um, I have to plug that too because I'm now a country representative for the JET Alumni Association of the United States.
Oh,
So,
that
Oh
is
wow.
so cool.
yeah, if anybody wants to talk with me about JET programs, happy to do that too.
I have a
Um,
friend from college who did the same thing, who spent years over there, still lives in Japan doing it, and that was almost 20 years ago now. So
yeah,
he loved it. So apparently the program is just amazing doing that.
yeah, it's a huge exchange program, many thousands of alumni around the world at this point. So that was a really foundational experience for me too. Obviously, like living in Japanese culture and everything. Um, but I eventually came back to the U.S. and, with my knowledge from working at the ANN website, I knew a lot of publishers and I basically cold emailed some publishers and started freelance editing light novels and manga. And then I got an in-house job at Viz Media. Um, and now I have my current in-house job where I make manga and books. Um, I was going to mention, I don't know if you two know, maybe not, but at Viz Media, one of the projects I worked on was the first arc of The Adventure of Brad. So
Yep, I've got it in my background. That was one of the ones that I have. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. I did not know you were a part of that, but yeah, we did episodes on it when the localization first came out. We talked about a lot. That's really cool. So
yeah, that,
not to put you on the spot, but between Die and Mark of Erdrick, do you have a preference for which one? Like from a storytelling perspective, like is there a story you find?
they both have great stories, but there's something about the characters in the Mark of Erdrick. I really, I'm really pulled into all their subplots and the character arcs they go on. So
Mhm.
that's something I think is special about this manga.
Very cool. So I promise everybody listening, we're going to get into the manga portion in a second. But since we have an actual expert on here, we like never have experts on anything on this show, and BJ and I just ramble. But something that's come up a lot, both just us talking about it here on the podcast or like people chatting with us about it, is like the difference between localization and translating. So for people who kind of want that explanation for the difference, what's your way of explaining that to everybody?
Well, my answer might surprise you in that I tend to pretty much use them synonymously. It's kind of a hot debate depending on exactly what part of the industry you work in, I guess. Some people have very strong opinions the other way, maybe, but
Mm.
um, one example is people with the job title localizer and translator often have identical jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, even if you view translation and localization as separate things or separate parts of the process, there's no translation without localization. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
the in the whole Japanese pop culture localization sphere nowadays, people who work on like manga, anime, games, in recent years we generally talk about ourselves as working in localization. Um, and it's it's obviously translating one language to another, but there's also deeper culture and nuances you have to take into account. Um, and since we're talking about manga, as an example, there's also many other parts of the process involved rather than just like the words on the page. With manga, you can have lettering, layout, retouch, like cover design, licensing, approvals, different layers of editing. So there's a lot more involved in the process than some people might know. So
Mhm.
that's also part of why I think localization is a more useful, like holistic term to describe the entire process of what we do. So yeah, and I
Okay,
think it
cool.
invokes
Yeah,
some
that's
of
really
the
cool.
complexity.
No, no, that's cool to hear. One time at the very beginning of the life of this podcast, I said something about translation, and like a dozen people were like, "No, it's localization,
Mm,
Austin." And
yes,
so ever since then, I've tried my hardest
Hmm.
to
yeah,
clarify every time we talk about it.
I would tell
So
you you're fine.
okay, so next time someone tells me, I'm going to be like, "No," and here's why. Jennifer
Yep.
Sherman told me that that I'm
I,
fine.
I wouldn't say my opinion is necessarily end all and be all, but that's, you know, I think you're good.
I mean, I feel like you're more than qualified for it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna use that now from now on. All right, cool. So one kind of like fun thing I thought of is probably back in I want to say it was like 2021 maybe.
It's been a while
I
now.
It's been a while. Yeah, I interviewed Nagasawara who translated localized. See, yeah, I already did it again. But who did like Pokemon games up until like 2009 for people listening who may not know this already. Also did work on various like Dragon Warrior games for quite a while. And one thing that I thought was kind of funny that he brought up was like I guess a hurdle that he had to overcome was like, okay, would an American audience like get this joke, or like would an American audience understand this pun? Is there a better pun like to use here? And like he even explained that in his translation of DQ3, well, I guess it was Dragon Warrior 3. He used Lodo instead of Roto, and he said that the reason that at the end of the day the reason was he didn't think an American audience would like a hero that had rot in his name, and so he was just like, yeah, Lodo's probably fine. Um, and did you, when doing this for Dragon Quest Mark of Erdrick, were there any moments like that that you faced?
Well, okay. I'm gonna go in a couple different directions with this question. I will get to your main question,
Great.
but
No, totally fine.
but
We're all ears.
I noticed something interesting. Um, Now Ogasawa, legend, obviously, in the localization world. Um, I think I did find your old interview with him, and he mentioned that his first job in localization at Nintendo of America was working on a game called Terranigma,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh
that is
yeah.
that is a game that the artist for Dragon Quest, the Mark of Erdrick, designed characters for. So,
Oh.
Oh,
huh,
that's
there's,
awesome.
there's a decades-long connection there, and Kamui Fujiwara, the artist, he also very recently released more art books for both Terra Enigma and Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick, this manga series. So it's like
Oh.
the whole story of this manga is like things happened decades ago, and we're still linking them to what happens today, both in the story of this manga and the development, really. So I just thought that was
That's
cool.
really cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, but to get to your actual question, the translation process for this so far has been pretty straightforward. At least in this first volume, there wasn't really a lot of convoluted comedy that I can remember or anything like that. Um, our translator, Christina Rose, is doing an amazing job. She's like the biggest Dragon Quest fan you can imagine. Um, and we also have, the terms list from the Dragon Quest games. So
Hmm.
we didn't have to go back and invent a lot of terms because we had the list. And um, so it's been pretty straightforward. There is one thing in volume one that I'm not sure it may happen later too. There is a panel that you'll notice is illustrated in a very different style. And that's because it's in the style of Ami Shibata, who back many, many years ago illustrated four-panel gag comedy manga for Dragon Quest. She did many, many of those. Um, so in this series, she gets a little cameo here and there, like for a punchline type of thing. Um, and she's really like connected to the history of this because working on the Dragon Quest manga helped her launch her career, and she's um, next month also releasing another volume of the Dragon Quest four-panel comedy manga. So um,
Cool.
yeah, and so I had kind of a debate with myself for that one panel. Should I put a big note about it? But I didn't want to like interfere with the narrative experience, you know. So um, in that case, I decided people can probably just Google Ani Tsubaka and discover some of this interesting stuff themselves.
Yeah, that's really cool. I I'm already going to call it right now and just say this is probably the most educational episode of Dragon Quest FM we have ever done.
Uh huh.
I mean, by far, right? BJ, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
got to
for
be.
sure.
Um, this is very fascinating. So thank you
And
for
I've always wondered about things like that in mangas when the art style will just change for just a very short period of time. I didn't know. I'm not close enough into it that I didn't know guest artists and things like that were
Well,
even
yeah,
a thing. Like that's really cool to me. Like when if you said that you had included that note, I would have been reading through and been like, "Well, that's just awesome. I had no idea they would do this kind of thing." So I think people in both ways would work with it, would like
yeah,
that. That is so cool to know, though.
yeah. There's this is kind of a limited case. It's not like that happens quite a lot, but yeah, sometimes different artists collaborate with each other, and yeah, it's always fun to see them working together.
awesome. So obviously, if you've made it this far into the episode, you know that we're talking about Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick. You probably also saw this in the title on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. But just in case you're not familiar with The Mark of Erdrick, which comes out September 23rd, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And just in case you're not familiar with Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick, which was previously called Emblem of Roto before it was localized over here, um, Jennifer, can you tell everybody just kind of like a quick kind of like what the book is about?
Yeah, so it takes place 100 years after the events of Dragon Quest III, um, and it's kind of a bridge between the stories of Dragon Quest III and the original Dragon Quest game. It,
Okay.
if fans want to, they can like install the story in the canon if you want to. Um, but it centers on a prince named Art who is just a baby born into the kingdom of Carmen when the Dragon Lord forces attack the castle, essentially. Um, and Luna Freya, the daughter of the commander, has to rescue him and flee the kingdom as it's under attack to, save his life. And they find a safe haven far away with a few other people from the kingdom, and they live there in safety for about 10 years. And then, um, as ours is growing alongside another little boy named Kira and learning swordsmanship and that sort of thing, eventually the Dragon Lord finds their hideout and they have to flee again. Um, but that's really where the story kicks off. There's a dragon that attacks, of course. Um, but Arus and Kira find amazingly powerful mentor, and Arus learns how to become a true hero and goes in there, just building his party and starting to plan to take on the forces of the Dragon Lord and his master and save the world, of course, as he did.
Awesome. So I know you said there wasn't really like necessarily a challenge with this, but what was the most fun part of bringing this over?
Yeah, Well, I mean, there is kind of a challenge because it's an older series originally from 91, and you're always going to have complications working on older series and older files and all that sort of thing. But
Hmm.
for me, that's kind of the most exciting part too, to dig up a series like this that, the fans ever would have gotten to see. Um, and it's exciting to be able to release it now because it's also obviously in the window between Dragon Quest 3 HD3D remake and the
Yep.
Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD3D remake. So that's where the story fits in of this manga, and it's nice that you get to release it in this window. Um, and it's it's such a it's just such a good story. It's such a beautiful manga to look at, and it's really fun for me to edit in a way that's hard to describe. Um, my job involves a lot of different processes, but for the actual editing, I've had some of the most fun working on this series of anything I've worked on. So
Awesome.
it's been great.
That's speaking volumes for some of the ones that you showed that you were working on already. That this is one of the most fun because you've worked on some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and I'm really excited about it because I don't I don't understand Japanese, but that hasn't stopped me from like playing DQ10 or like a couple weeks ago we did a Dragon Quest 7 anniversary episode and I was talking about the Warriors of Eden manga
Hmm.
and like I just kind of like I've gone through it. I don't understand it, but I kind of use just context clues from playing the game and the like pictures, to kind of get to experience it. So I'm always happy when we get like these English releases,
Mm-hmm.
especially if something like this. Like I've been wanting an Emblem of Roto kind of like localization for a really long time. So thank you, Square Enix, for the Mark of Erdrick coming out because that's really. I mean, I'm very excited to read this. I can't wait.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
surprised me a lot when this one was announced to be coming out. Like it wasn't on my radar. It kind of felt like it had not forgotten, but that there wasn't any call for it. They had just done the Die manga. They had just done the DQ Monsters line, and this one I didn't think had any kind of chance. And then lo and behold, it's here. Would I know it wasn't part of the ones that we had sent, but I don't know if you can say. But was this something that you petitioned for yourself to get, or were able to put a bid in to edit it, or is that the kind of thing that just comes down the line as the qualified editors come up for projects?
And this one was an interesting kind of long story how we got to do it. And I probably can't go into much detail there, but this is exactly the kind of manga that I love to root for and champion because it is an older series that,
Mhm.
with some of these, you know, maybe lesser known in the West, older series, a
Mhm.
publisher is taking more of a risk on it, but it's the kind of thing that you just want readers in English to be able to get a chance to see. Um, so I'm really excited to see what the reception is to it. And for sure, my work on the Adventure of Dai made it make sense for me to work on this one too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I changed companies and they couldn't get rid of me. I'm still working on Dragon Quest. Um, but yeah, it's been a fun ride. It's been, a complicated ride to work on this project, but it's gonna be coming out for the next few years. Yeah, can't wait to see what everybody thinks of it because I hope I get to show it to you, but it's a really beautiful release. So.
So that was actually going to be kind of my next question. So you have like the physical book of Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick with you that you're showing off to us today, right?
Yeah, I do. I would love to. Um, I can actually do a little comparison too because I have the original Japanese version.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you'll notice the front cover of ours, Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick, looks very, very similar. We wanted to keep that, sleek design with the,
Right.
high-end feel.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you can tell, but this cover is so shiny that I can see my own reflection in it. It's
It
so
Oh my
looks
pretty.
shiny.
goodness,
Yeah,
it
Yeah,
I can
does.
tell as you're holding it.
yeah.
Yeah, I can tell it's very shiny.
And on the characters, it has like a nice matte finish. Um, and then you'll notice a significant difference in the back, though. Here's the original back. They do this with some of the Japanese releases, especially for series that have been, released before. It's kind of an elegant, minimalist
Mm-hmm.
look. But for our version, ta-da!
Yay, art.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
especially since this hasn't been released before, we really wanted to show it off and let readers know about the content. So of course we have the copy to tell about what the story is. And then we pulled out some of the panels from inside of some of the main monsters in this volume. And those are in a kind of a cool golden color. And then we have our big four color image of Prince Art, who is obviously the protagonist. And so he gets to shine on this cover. And one of the really cool things, again, I'll do a comparison. The original spine has no art on it, but
Hmm.
our spine has a continuous art from the original edition
Oh.
of this manga. So this is going to be like continuous connecting art for all of the volumes. So it'll
Oh,
be a really cool
I
display
love
piece.
I love it.
Yeah.
I
And
love when
it'll eventually show all the
manga.
main characters.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love when manga do that. I was actually about to ask that. That's like my favorite thing about my
Yeah.
Dragon Ball manga is that it runs along the line like that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. They do that on a lot of the Japanese editions too for this type of manga. So we had to get it approved and everything, but I'm really glad we were able to do this. It'll be so cool on everybody's shelves.
And that's a
Um,
Yeah.
selling point too, especially for people like me who just see that, and it's another thing that's like, oh, this is going to stand out on my shelf rather than blend in
mhm.
like it's just another book. And whenever something connects like that, I will buy something for a feature like a feature like that on a book. That will be one of the things that pushes me over in deciding whether or not I pick it up, is knowing that there's something special about the cover. And you
Yeah.
said that about the matte on the hero rather than the glossy, and
Uh-huh.
I'm picturing myself just running my fingers over it, because every time I get a book that does that, I go back and forth, just rub from the matte to the shiny, just sitting there as I'm just idling it. So I'm like, yeah, this is going to be a good one for me to get.
Yeah, it feels, it's a tactile, it feels really good in your hands. It's one you just kind of pick up and just keep looking at and flipping through for sure. And shout out to our cover designer, Phil Baldwin, who is a really excellent designer and did all of this as well as like the table of contents and the title page. So yeah, got lots of nice special touches for this series.
I'm so excited to
Yeah,
get my
that's
hands on
awesome.
this now, even more so.
Yeah, thank you for showing it to us because it looks awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm happy to show it to you. It's really the whole look and package of it is really the big selling point.
Yeah, I mean it looks great, and honestly, like I know it seems like such a small thing, but having the art on the spine right there, like literally, like I have bought like more expensive editions of books
Yes,
before just so that it like matches, like they're on my
Yeah.
shelf and looks nice.
hmm
Um, where I love when it all goes together like that.
yeah.
Yeah. That was really important to me. That was a feature I was really lobbying for too. So I'm so happy that we got to include that here.
That really does look like a fantastic edition of it, rather than one that I would just see going to Target and be like, oh, it's just another manga that's on the shelf in this mass bookstore, that it's something, or mass department store, and then seeing that, it's like, oh, this is a high quality piece of literature, that more high quality product than any of the others. Like, I love that DQ is getting that. And that
Yeah.
you had mentioned that it's a risk for the publisher. Like I hate to say, I'm glad that it is, but I'm glad that the U.S. is and the West is getting a translation of something for Dragon Quest that is with it being considered a risk. That 10 years ago, that would be so hard to even hear that they were taking a risk in the West with putting something out with Dragon Quest. So I'm glad to know that even though it is a risk, that moving forward, that I hope it gets the reception it deserves.
Yeah, and Dragon Quest has gained a lot of steam in the West too, especially really excited for the 40th anniversary next year to see
Hmm.
everything that's going to happen. And we get to celebrate in our own way with this series continuing to come out, obviously. So I'm always happy to see Dragon Quest get a chance to shine and give everybody a chance to, consume more items and, more stories and the great pantheon of work that it includes. So.
Yeah,
I should
for
probably
sure.
know the answer to this question already, but how many volumes is Mark of Erdrick? I was going to say Emblem of Erdrick, but no, it is Mark of Erdrick, Emblem of Roto. How many volumes is it total that for the manga?
So the original Japanese edition of this was 21 volumes. However, if you have looked at like cover comparisons for the original edition, um, you'll notice that this is not the original edition. This is the perfect edition that came out
Oh,
in Japan between 2006 and 2007. The original series is from like 91 to 97, and this perfect edition is from, yeah, 2006 to 2007. And they really, on the Japanese side, went to amazing, like, painstaking lengths to like revamp and modernize the series in a way. In the afterword in each volume, the artist Kamui Fujita talks about how he, in some cases, had to redo the art because the old copy was lost, or he had to
oh
make
man.
corrections and updates. And um, one of the most interesting things is in the afterwards where he talks about the entire process of making this edition. So it's it's got full color pages as well as the black and white. Let me see if I can find you one maybe. Oh, well, here's a teaser, a little landscape there.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
nice.
So there are full color pages throughout this series in addition to the black and white. And there is also a lot of bonus material in this perfect edition. Um, from character sketches, like design concepts, different bonus art from various places. Um, there's a lot of really cool bonus content in the 15th volume, especially. There's over 100 pages of bonus content in the 15th volume. Um, so
Oh, wow.
it's really cool. You really get a sense for the history of this series over the decades with all the bonus material they included and all the art. And if you just keep looking through it and seeing more details and all this stuff. So yeah, it's a special
That's awesome.
15 volume edition. I'm not sure if I mentioned 15 volumes, but I got there
Okay, I
eventually. Yeah.
got you.
So yeah, the original is 21 and it's 20.
Awesome. And that actually answers a question later on that I can just skip now. So that's great. All right, this might be too spoilery. I don't know, but is there a moment in this? We'll say first volume of the Mark of Erdrick that's your favorite. If it's a
Hmm.
spoiler, we don't have to answer it. But
Um, a lot of my favorite moments in this series are later when we get to, build more emotional impact with some of the characters. Um, but I think one of my favorite moments that stands out to me is a moment where, I'll keep it vague, but after a long time, since I was leaves his kingdom, but he gets to see his parents again in a way, and the way it all unfolds is so heart wrenching. It really pulls at your emotions. That's one of my favorites. There's obviously a lot of, amazing action and battle scenes with the really detailed art from Kamui Fujiwara. Um, Especially in the later volumes, some of the art, like, genuinely made me gasp a little when I turned the page and saw it. It's so beautiful. Um,
Well, that's a really
but
good tease for later
Yeah.
volumes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's it's really you go on such a journey with these characters, and I feel like you don't lose your way. You stay invested for the full series. At least I am. So
Yeah, very cool.
That's really exciting.
Kind of related to this, I guess, is do you have a favorite character?
one of my favorite characters again comes up in the later volumes, but my favorite character from this volume is Luna Freya. I
Hmm.
already mentioned how she flees the kingdom under siege with the prince, so she's got this caring guardian aspect. But she's also the first person to teach Aris and Kira swordsmanship, and she's such a like powerful, badass kind of character. She doesn't take any nonsense. She sometimes like swings into the sea on a vine. She's great. Um, I love Luna Freya. She never like backs down from a fight, takes on some of the most dangerous enemies. So
Hmm.
um, I think she's pretty cool.
Very cool. So the like age recommendation for this manga is all ages or teen?
Well, let's see. We have
Just for
it.
people listening.
Yeah, we have it as teen. It um like the age considerations for Japan are different from the Western market, obviously. So
Right. Yeah.
there's things that you might not expect, but this is for a teen audience. Most of it is probably fine for all ages, but yeah, there's some battle and some topics that maybe not for the littlest of kids, but yeah,
Cool.
definitely for teen.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask. I know several of our listeners like listen with their kids
Hmm.
too, and then also like I have kids of my own who are now getting into manga, especially the oldest, Naomi. She's we go down the street to the bookstore down here now, and she goes around and like looks for manga that looks nice, and so I know as soon as this arrives in my house, she's gonna be like, "Oh, can I look at it too, Dad?"
Yeah,
Yep.
Um, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
yeah. Well, to hear it. It's great to hear stories when, fans of these franchises that they grow up and share it with their kids. It's so exciting to see that longevity with those franchises, especially. Um,
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I when I I wrote a Dragon Quest book a couple of years ago, and I interviewed lots of people, and so many people told me that they got into the series because like their parent was playing the game.
yeah.
And I heard so many fun stories about like, yeah, my dad would let me stay up kind of late to watch him play, Dragon Warrior 3, and that's what made me fall in love with it. And
Yeah.
so I think about that a lot, like with my own kids with playing video games now, because like they've all played Dragon Quest 11. They haven't beaten it,
Hmm.
but like they like to chip away at it and boot it back up and just run around sometimes even, because they're all still pretty young. But like I don't know. I think about that too, where I'm like, oh, my kid's gonna like say this story one day too.
Yeah. It's great to see. For me also, it was more when I was a little kid playing the original Dragon Warrior. It was like my family really playing it, and he was like, "Oh my God, the controller! Look, I can see the slime! Yay!" Um, yeah. So it's good. So that's continued. You mentioned Dragon Quest 11. That's one of my favorites. So I'm happy
Mhm.
whenever anyone mentions that. I love Dragon Quest 11 too.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's probably my favorite
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the series at this point. Um,
And I remember, Austin,
it's
you had Naomi grinding for you in DQ11 at some points where she wanted to play, she wanted to learn how to play, and you taught her how to run around an area and basically just do the fight motion without having any other kind of strategy. She was so young.
in several, yeah. Actually, I did it more on like six, seven, some of the ones that you could play on DS and 3DS
Mm.
because they were especially little at the time. Like Naomi, I think was probably like 4 or 5, but she she was learning to read, and it's turn-based combat, so she had time to go through and kind of sound out some of the words and figure out what was going on, and she would want to play, and I would be like, yeah, go for it. And so like in Dragon Quest 7 specifically, like I legitimately mastered some vocations and got better just because she was like playing the game. And I was like, the worst that can happen is, I'll maybe die and lose some gold. But, she was having fun and it was helping me out because I was getting more powerful. So I just went with it. And yeah, we had a good time.
If you can recruit a kid, maybe the grinding for you, all the better. Okay.
Yeah, it's been something that I have taken advantage of quite a bit, and they enjoy it. I think they just like getting to experience new games, and then it works out for me because they can kind of do the grinding part when I'm at
Mm-hmm.
work or whatever, and then I can hop in and beat the boss, watch the cutscene, do all that stuff alongside of them, and so that's really fun. Unless there was one time when Naomi just kept playing, and I like was the next. It was Monster Hunter Stories 2,
Hmm.
and I got on the next day and it wasn't like where I expected to be, and I was like, "What happened here?" And I asked her, I was
Uh-oh.
like, "Did you beat a boss?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What happened? Can you fill me in on the story that I missed?" Like I didn't realize you had like played this so much while I was at work. Um, but that was still kind of a proud dad moment, regardless.
Yeah, kudos
Yeah.
to her for going for it, not being too scared to take on the ball.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, So, all right. So, Dragon Quest, like I said earlier, it's known for its sense of humor, and that's something that BJ and I both like praise about it all the time, and
Mhm.
that we just love about it because it makes us laugh, makes us smile. Um, and this may be too spoiler heavy too, but is there any moment or moments you can share that where you were just like, oh man, this part is hilarious?
Yeah, I mean, there's moments throughout the series, obviously. In this first volume, I'll be a little bit vague, but one of my favorite scenes was a group of slimes giving Kira, the other main male character, um, he's still a boy at the time, but he thinks, oh, a group of slimes, I can take them on no problem. And they kind of show him his boss. And at one point, a
Excellent.
king slime appears, this giant king slime, and he's like, "Oh no, I have made a mistake." And it's like a training exercise for him, but it's hilarious how he has to face off against these slimes and get a little bumpy his ego.
That's awesome.
I'm so
Um,
excited for that.
all right. So, kind of, I guess my last question um, is I know that some people who maybe are not familiar with this series yet may be like hesitant about like investing in a manga series that's localized just in the case that it doesn't go its full run. But based on what you've said, that's the plan, right? Like you guys have the full run planned out and it's on its way.
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to save all 15 volumes of the perfect edition of the series. Um, of course, anything with publishing, there can be delays, there can be, shuffling in the schedule, but we always do our best to note that on the website and keep everybody updated. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't wait to continue this release for the next few years and see everybody enjoying all 15 volumes. And I didn't mention too that I guess it's obvious from the original 21 movies down to 15, these are chunkier volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this
Hmm.
first one is like 376 pages, I believe, and they vary in length from there. Um, so yeah, and it's again, I can't wait to let it sign in this scene of the games coming out and 40th anniversary and all these things happening with Dragon Quest that is so exciting. Um, for me also, I am unexpectedly going to Japan later this year, and I'm planning to go to Dragon Quest Island, the theme park,
Oh, nice.
and
Ah,
I want to bring these take some pictures there. That's what I'm looking forward to this year. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Um,
sounds amazing.
that's very cool. I saw that they're doing like a special thing for DQ1 and 2 remake there now. Is that going on when you're there? Do you know?
so what do you mean
On DQ Island, they're doing like a
oh,
special. I saw the announcement.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
like 2 days ago. I think it's
Uh-huh.
been a pretty new announcement,
I think
but
I just,
I'm not sure what it entails. But
yeah, they were not like they were vague about the details. I think I just saw that and um I want to check that out. What's going on? I'm not fully sure if the timing will be right.
uh-huh.
I'll be in there in November, and I think it starts partway through November, so
Mhm.
we'll see. But they also have like a flying figure painting workshop, and that's one
Oh,
thing I'm
that
looking
sounds
forward to
cool.
doing there.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah,
that would be
gonna
cool.
geek out on Dragon Quest V.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. Um, well, Jennifer, thanks for hanging out with us today. Seriously, this was like so much fun, so informative. Um, please come back sometime and chat with us again, just about Dragon Quest or whatever. Next time there's a volume out too, if you want. But this was just so much fun. So thank you so
It
much for
was.
joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad I get to show you my pretty little book baby here. So yeah, thank
I know
you.
getting to see it has just made my day. Like getting to see parts of the inside and how high quality it is, and knowing it's a chonky one. Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's one of my biggest pet peeves with buying manga is I get it, I get invested, and it's one of the short collections, and the next volume is either not out or it feels like the I have to go immediately to get the next one and wait on it to be delivered because it was a short one. So a 370 something page volume is something that I'm really excited about because it's going to take up time to be able to get through and not feel like it ends
yeah,
too soon.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
for go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, one thing I like about working on these complete series is we can just keep working on them. We know what's going to happen, so that really like eases the production process in a way too. Um, we don't have like questions of did we make the right choice with this term later on, so you can see the whole thing. And we can
Oh
keep it really
yeah.
steady because we're not waiting for the Japanese release either. So yeah,
I gotcha. Yeah, um, that's cool. I was just going to mention really quickly. So, for those of you, I know most people listen to this podcast, but if you ever are going to watch an episode of Dragon Quest FM, like watch this one to get to see that. If you're watching it on Spotify, um, I'm just going to shamelessly plug our YouTube channel because we do post these on YouTube nowadays. Um, that is youtube.com/at DQFM. Is that right, BJ?
Yep,
Did I
that's
say it
it.
right? All right, cool. So, anybody listening, even if you've gotten this far just listening, like go check it out because that book stuff is really cool to see.
Like it really is.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sad it's still going to be a couple of weeks before I can get my grubby little hands all over it before the
uh,
release on September 23rd.
soon it's coming
uh,
soon.
yes. So that is Dragon Quest: The Mark of Erdrick, and it is on sale September 23rd. Um, And if you would like to chat with us more, me and BJ more, you can find us on Blue Sky or Twitter at DQFM. I'm on those places at Dragon Quaston. I was going to let
And
BJ do his spiel.
I didn't know.
He
Usually he
hesitated.
pitches it
I
to
heard
me.
the
Uh,
hesitation.
I was waiting. I thought he was going
Sorry.
to say something else here. If you want to talk to me solo, I'm on there as BJK Games and on at bjkgames.com on Blue Sky and BJK Games on Twitter. And like he said, we're on YouTube as at DQFM. And we also have a Patreon if you would like to support us there at patreon.com/DragonQuestFM. And where can they find you again, Jennifer?
I'm on Blue Sky and Twitter at JAA Sherman.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you guys for listening, and thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Square Enix. Thanks to all the people who worked on the Mark of Erdrick. And we'll see everybody again next week. Bye,
Yep.
y'all.
Thanks so
Bye,
much.
everybody.